Hello, welcome to Spotlight, a beacon of hope in a dark world.
Spotlight, brought to you by the Isle of Man Arts Council.
This evening, we hear how the Labyrinth History in Action Group are all at sea for their latest production. The service players are getting clued up for their production at the Gaiety Theatre next week. After a drag pyjama party, we hear about the next Drag Brunch. And a chance meeting with the Silver Fox, Billy Booth. Remember, do get in touch with any creative artistic endeavours you might be involved in, planning, hoping to create, or would really like to put in that spotlight. Poetic, theatrical, musical, literary, drag, ceramics, sculpture. Haven't had dance for a while. Any dancers out there? Love to do something there. Email me, howardkane@maxradio.com, Kane with an E, or spotlight@maxradio.com. I don't care which, just email me, as a few people have done this week. Thank you. So, if you've been to the All at Sea exhibition at the House of Manannan in Peel, and if you haven't, why not? You're missing a treat. Well, you'll know it's full of captivating tales surrounding the sea and the formation of the RNLI. Now there's a chance to see some of those stories come to life as the Labyrinth History in Action Theatre Group uses these stories in the exhibition for their latest theatrical production. As usual, it's an immersive theatrical experience offering a promenade-style performance and guiding the audience through the House of Manannan, in this case, where historical figures and true stories come to life. Intrigued? Curator of Archaeology at MNH, Alison Fox, told me more.
My role in Labyrinth is to help guide the audience around the various scenes that play out that are done by the proper actors.
Oh, proper actors. So Labyrinth we are indeed talking about. For those who don't know it, so this is sort of like is it fair to call it the sort of in-house drama group of Manx National Heritage?
Yeah, it was set up, I think this is our 11th year now, actually. My colleague Katie King sort of was really interested in this idea of bringing the stories of Manx history and Manx prehistory to life in different ways. We do obviously do lots of exhibitions at Manx National Heritage, but they can be quite static, even if we have videos or soundtracks with them. So we wanted to try and find a way to bring some of these stories to life. So we put a call out for interested people to come along and initially volunteer to act in our sort of promenade style performances for Labyrinth, and that's evolved, and now they still volunteer, but they not only act, they also write their own scripts as well, which is absolutely brilliant. And I think that's one of the keys to Labyrinth that makes it so special is Katie and myself and my colleague Jude, we can supply the historical information, the facts and the figures, but then our cast take these, this information, and they turn them into these amazing scenes.
And are all the actors and actresses then, are they all staff members or?
No. We have a couple of guest appearances every now and then from MNH staff members, but most of the cast are not. They come from all different walks of life, teachers, IT people, guides, all a whole range of, sort of backgrounds that we have. So, and I think their experiences add a lot to their performances in Labyrinth as well, I think.
So do you take a different theme each year?
We do. We tend to. We either look at a particular venue. So our very first year was Unlocked, and it was Labyrinth, and it was based at Castle Rushen, and we've been at Castle Rushen for a few times now, and as you can imagine, that is an amazing venue.
Great place to act.
Yeah, a really good place, especially for this promenade style of performance. So it's the audience moving around, happening upon scenes inspired by what's happened in the past. So Castle Rushen's obviously fantastic for that, but we've done productions at productions at the Grove, Rushen Abbey, and we've done a couple at the House of Manannan. So that's where we are this year, inspired by the exhibition that's on there at the moment, All at Sea.
Which is excellent and well worth seeing. I think, is that on to the beginning of the new year?
Yep, just until, we've extended it slightly, so it's the 25th of January now. It is the last day, yeah.
and definitely worth a sight. Very good indeed. So, okay, so this year it is going to be around there. So how is it going to pan out then? It sort of starts, in one room, and then you narrate and guide the audience through various different rooms?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We've sort of, in the press release, we've sort of, gone for the set sail for an amazing journey through our, nautical and maritime heritage. So that's the idea, that we're taking people on a journey, and they will come across scenes that have been inspired by what's happened in the past around the Isle of Man. And we go through parts of the House Manannan. So people might be familiar with a lot of the rooms in the House Manannan, but all our performances are in the evenings, and we have a little bit of dramatic license with how the House of Manannan will look and sound, as opposed to how it usually looks and sounds. So we like to just labyrinth it up a bit. So it'll be a different experience than when people usually go around the House of Manannan.
Labyrinthed up a bit, that's a good phrase, it has to be said. How long does the performance last?
We are looking at probably just over an hour, maybe an hour and a quarter for each performance. So we do move around. We've got a lot to pack in. We've got 12, 13, 14 around there stories to tell. So we do move around, but there are sort of scenes where people can have a bit of a seat, have a little bit of a breather, but we are, we're going for it. We're pretty much covering about 300, 400 years of history in this one, so we've got to get a move on.
And is it a sort of linear narrative, as it were, or is it a collection of vignettes, if you will?
Oh, Labyrinth's never linear or a sort of chronological narrative. No, not at all. One of the fantastic things about Labyrinth is it gives us the opportunity to really mix things up. So we like to have the audience experience different reactions to the stories. A lot of the stories in All at Sea are about shipwrecks. So obviously there's, quite a lot of sadness there with loss of life. And, we address that, and we address why that led Sir William Hillary to start the RNLI 200 years ago. But also in amongst that, there's some fantastic stories of people making the most of what's been washed ashore. So we have, we're basically picking the stories and mixing and matching. So anybody who expects a sort of a timeline, we're not doing that. But we are pretty confident that people will come away with perhaps a more fuller understanding of the human stories, perhaps behind these historical facts that we tell.
And there's no mention of whiskey anywhere in that, I don't think, is there? No, I don't know. These things are washed ashore, I wondered. I was thinking whiskey galore, really. But
well, I don't want to spoil any.
No, don't.
No spoilers, but
no spoilers.
There's plenty of alcohol.
Well, it is the Isle of Man. Right, you better give us that. We know where it is, when is it, and how do people, if they want to go along, and hopefully lots of people will, how do they get tickets?
People can book tickets through our website. If they go to the M&H website and What's On, there's availability there for each of the performances. We tend to keep groups to a size of 30, and that means that people can see everything and we can get round in a good time. But also it makes it just I think it makes it a little bit more special, I think, because you're sort of in a relatively small group. So it is being performed on Thursday 14th, Friday 15th and Saturday the 16th of November. So Thursday evening we've got one performance at 7 o'clock. Friday we've actually got three at 5 p.m, 7 p.m. and 8:30 p.m.
That's a busy evening.
And I tell you, there's no messing about with Labyrinth. When we do it, we do it. And Saturday 16th we have 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. So people can, I think there's still tickets available for most of those performances. But if people go onto our website, they'll be able to select which one they want from there.
Excellent. And just to remind again, it does involve moving around, going up and down stairs. So you need to be at least able to sort of follow the plot around, be able to go up and down a flight of stairs, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and some of the because some of the scenes are perhaps a little bit more in depth, then we do say it's probably not great for children under 10 because, you know, they can get, well, I mean, to be honest, I can get a little bit fidgety as well, but, you know, sometimes it's with our younger visitors, you know, it's not great for them. So just something to be aware of as well.
And just a reminder, it is an active and fast-moving experience. You're not just sitting down for this. You're walking up and down staircases in low-light areas. So you need to be good on your feet, and it's probably not suitable for children under 10. We'll stay theatrical, but head to the more traditional home of drama, perhaps the Gaiety Theatre, where the service players will be asking whodunit in a slightly sillier outing than their last two productions, which were whodunits to a larger or lesser degree, as they stage Clue. Service players and actors in next week's production, Lisa and Toby Smith, dropped into the studio to tell me more.
This stage production is an adaptation of the 1986 Tim Curry film called Clue, which was a madcap comedy whodunit that I was always a huge fan of growing up. So when I realised that there was a stage adaptation, I thought, oh, this would be wonderful for us to do. It'll be the first time it's done in the Isle of Man. So it's an island premiere. It's just a wonderful frolic, a silly, high energy, puntastic thrill ride.
Were you familiar with it, Toby? Was it something you'd seen?
Absolutely, yes. It was part of my growing up as well as it was Lisa's, I think. So I was a big fan of all things Tim Curry growing up. Just thought he was wonderful, very animated, cartoonish type actor. So the opportunity to kind of try and step into those very big boots was something that I was really excited about doing.
And it is madcap. It is cartoonish, you're right, in that I don't think anyone would ever say there's huge depth to the characters. They're all sort of caricatures. There's something, because again, you're playing Wadsworth, who in many ways is the linchpin for the whole thing. So it's a tricky part, do you think, to do? I know it's a very wordy part going through the whole play.
It is both. It's both wordy and tricky. Just there is, as we have discussed previously, a lot of kind of repetition within the role, but with different nuances each time, and that makes it very difficult to learn. It's a lot of time on your feet as well. It's a very, very physical role. Certainly in rehearsals, every time I get to the interval, I'm ready for a bit of a sit down. And I can't remember. I mean, the last play we did was Girl on the Train, and obviously Rachel Jockin in that was on for, I don't know what it was, 98% of the play she was on for, and I think we were all very sympathetic of that. But really, all the primary cast are actually on the stage almost all the time, and because of that, there's no downtime. I think that's probably the way of capturing the challenge of the role. Certainly Wadsworth, and I imagine most of the principals as well, is every point in the play you've got to be thinking, where should I be and what's next, because you don't have much time.
Yes, we're charging around a lot.
It's definitely one of those, isn't it?
But you're flinging yourself around an awful lot as well. It's very physical, the role of Wadsworth. He's very...
It is, yes. I might have to go into full retirement after this. I'm exhausted.
There's a lot of sort of slapstick, isn't there?
Well, you say that, but then I think probably somebody else in the cast, Howard, has plenty of throwing themselves on stage as well.
There is a bit of throwing around, and there is, as you've mentioned there, it's slapstick. It is sort of farce in many ways, isn't it? It's sort of farce on steroids to a degree, and that it is completely silly and over the top and funny and fairly fast-paced, and based, for anyone who remembers Cluedo, it is based on the characters of Cluedo. So you are Mrs. White.
I am Mrs. White, and you're playing Mr. Green, and Chris Kane is Colonel Mustard. We have Michelle Kane as Mrs. Peacock, and who am I forgetting? Oh, Ben Davenport as Professor Plum, and Kim Quine as Miss Scarlet.
Absolutely. So it's a great cast, all very well cast. I must have people really getting into their roles in many ways. Who do you think it appeals to? Is it a sort of cross-border audience? Where do you reckon it appeals to all age groups?
Yeah, I think so. I did just read some of the social media that Lisa's been putting out about it, and somebody said, will there be lots of running down the hall, was the question. I think the answer to that has to be yes. So I don't think there's anything particularly risque in there. I think it's probably for all audiences, I think.
Yes.
And I think it's been great fun to do, but as we said, it is one of those curious places, isn't it, where a lot of the time, a lot of the cast are all on at once. And so you're all on stage, and again, and that's what I always think one of the more difficult things in acting is actually to be on stage and not say something without looking like a spare part. You know, actually to be there and be involved. Reacting and being involved in the play and what's going on, rather than having a lot of lines to say. But
again, the balance of that
without drawing the eye as well is a really difficult thing to pull off.
It is a definite balance to strike. Difficult thing to stage then?
It has been a little bit of a challenge because it's set in a manor house, as you'd imagine from these kind of murder mystery, as well, and from the board game and from the movie. It's obviously based in a large house with lots of rooms. So and it's always moving. We're always moving, aren't we, from room to room to room?
It is very dynamic, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot less about the set and more about the performance, though, isn't it? It's the performance that carries your imagination to picture yourself in that room rather than us being heavily reliant on set and props.
That's it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It is great fun. I think it'll appeal to anyone who's got a sense of humour, or, as you said, Lisa, who knows the film going back in the day. I confess I've never seen the film. Never seen it. I do need to watch it now, actually, yes. It's on at the Gaiety Theatre. Give us dates, times, places, and how people can get involved, come along and watch it.
It is on the 14th, 15th and 16th of November, and it starts at 7:30. Houses open at 7, and you can go to thevillagaiety.com for tickets.
If you are looking for some very light-hearted entertainment to take your mind off things and have a good laugh, this is just the ticket. In fact, it probably helps if you don't think about the plot too much. You'll only confuse yourself. I'm in it and I still don't understand it.
Spotlight, brought to you by the Isle of Man Arts Council.
Speaking of light-hearted entertainment, the island's drag scene seems to be going from strength to strength and expanding out of Douglas. A recent drag pyjama party was held in Laxey, and now another brunch is on the cards in Douglas. To find out more, I spoke to Owen, a.k.a. Fenella Beach, and Ashton, a.k.a. Nona Binary. And Owen started by telling me the Laxey sleepover, as it been dubbed, had been a great success.
Absolutely, yeah. We had a really, really, really fun time. It was a very intense show for us because it was the two of us and Miss Dee Dee, a burlesque performer. So only three of us on the cast, kind of going bam, 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 one after the other. So it was a very intense show on our part, but a really fun night. Absolutely.
Probably the most outfits I've ever worn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was a good crowd?
Absolutely, yeah. So we got a really nice crowd. Great variety of people. Some people who'd seen us before, some people who hadn't been to any shows before. It was a real nice mix. Some people from Laxey as well, which is nice. You know, bringing drag into Laxey, and they can go, I'll just walk down the road and there it is. Some people busing in or taxiing in or driving in or whatever. So yeah, a real nice mix of people from all around, all parts.
It's quite nice. I suppose you're right. Yeah, I'm thinking, hitherto, I suppose most of the drag evenings have been Douglas-centric, have they? They haven't really been out of town that much.
Absolutely,
before.
Yeah. I mean, I performed once in Ramsey, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, and apart from that, pretty much everything is Douglas. So
I think this is the first time I ever did drag outside of Douglas. I've been doing drag for years, so
yeah.
And so there was was there a good response, you reckon? Were people thinking, oh, what the hell is this? Or was it a case of, yay, great, drag's moved north?
We had a mixed response, certainly. In person, everything was totally beautifully perfect. I think it's easy to get bogged down in like hateful comments that you see online, but everything.
You always get that, don't you? I mean,
you do,
I don't know why it is, but that's just human nature. Someone's got to have a pop.
Yeah. So, but everyone we saw in person and talked to in person about it was really enthusiastic, and we had no trouble on the night, of course, obviously, because these kind of mean people just live on the internet, don't they? So it was a beautiful time.
It's like you said, they're all bark and no bites. Even though we did have hesitations after all of the backlash with the show, we knew logically that nothing bad was going to happen, and everybody who turned up was there to support us, and it meant even more, to be honest, after all of the craziness, because we did receive some very strong, targeted, threatening messages for putting on the show. But everybody who turned up, it was just, it was fabulous. Everybody was there to have a good time and to be supportive, and I think that that's what we needed to show that, even if it doesn't interest you, it interests many people, and we aren't putting on the event for people who don't like it.
Exactly, yeah. And at the end of the day, if you don't want to go, don't go.
Exactly.
Yeah, move on with your life. Exactly. But yeah, it was really great, and we felt a lot of support from everybody there, and obviously from the team at the Institute as well. Were really helpful and really nice. My dad is actually on the committee that kind of founded and kind of made up the Institute as a venue. So that was that was a really nice kind of full circle
circle
moment for me. Look over and see his name there on the plaque and think, and he's made it into this beautiful
rejuvenated
space
and brought it back
and
into
now here I am using it.
So well used now. It's great. And it has a great mix, so it's adding something to the mix there. I think
Totally.
It sort of adds something for everyone. And did people sort of enter into it and sort of dress up for the night? Was everyone dressed up, or
A
did
lot.
some
It was
people?
so much more than we thought, honestly. Like when we put the theme out for pajamas, we were aware that some people might find it a little silly, or they wouldn't really want to like turn up like that. But honestly, we had people in dressing gowns, slippers, like the full shebang. People took the theme really seriously and ran with it, and it was exactly what we wanted.
It was it was beautiful, perfect.
And no one did sleep over, because that was the other option that people might think, I'll just spend the night here.
We did get a couple of queries asking if people should bring sleeping bags, but no one. Everyone realised that it was in fact just a pajama party, and that they could go back to the nice warm beds afterwards, which I think is better anyway.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to sleep on the cold floor of the Institute
No.
with me getting out of drag.
Yeah,
Could be too much, couldn't it?
and the out of drag process is definitely not very glamorous. So
Exactly.
So casting forward now then, so we're going from sleepover pajama party to another jazz brunch.
yes, there you go. So we're finally back in Kiki's. It's been a couple of months since we've managed to get a date booked down. But yeah, on the 9th of November, we're bringing a little bit of a hoedown, a cowgirl, country, yeehaw, down to the down to Kiki's for a drag brunch. So that's going to be really exciting. Obviously there's Nee and Nona are in it, and also Vida La Fierce and Lady Isabella. So some other local drag artists, and it's going to be a real camp time. We're going to have our cowboy hats and our fringe, playing our Shania Twain and Dolly Parton, and it's going to be it's going to be fabulous.
And what's sort of, again, for those perhaps I haven't been to one before, what's the sort of format for this? Because I guess again, it's sort of, some people might think again with any of this sort of cabaret, with sort of burlesque, with drag, you always think, oh, it's like a late night evening club thing, and here it is in a brunch time.
Yes, absolutely. So it's during the day. So doors will open at 12, and some people, like a little bit of day drinking, and they get down and they get a little fun with their friends. Some people stay at sober, that's fine too. But yeah, the format is very, there's it's a slightly more casual, laid back kind of drag show, because we're performing amongst all the tables. So you'll come in, you'll sit down, you'll get your food, you'll get your drinks, and then
It's very immersive.
we'll come on in with some performances around the tables, and hosting, chatting to people. We've got a little raffle, we've got some games. Like it's a camp all time.
And we feel so lucky to partner with Kiki's again, because not only is like the venue amazing and the people are amazing, but the food is amazing.
The food is great.
And I feel like we've been able to put on a very genuine, excellent drag brunch thanks to the extra fancy team, their excellent food, and also just the talent of everybody that we know locally, and of course our talent as well on top of that.
And clearly, by the sound of it then, despite, as you say, even though there would appear to be those who always feel they are obliged to dish out negative comments, the fact that there's another brunch going on, you've had the pajama party, it sounds like there's definitely a market for this. And so, leaving aside the naysayers or those who just like to complain, people love it.
Absolutely, yeah, and there's so much going on. I feel like we're having a bit of a drag renaissance on the island at the moment. I mean, Vida's just started doing a quiz down at the British every few weeks, and that's been really exciting. We've been to a couple of those.
Yeah. We also have some stuff that we cannot talk about yet, but in the line for December.
Yeah.
So December is definitely going to be...
All right, we'll come back and talk about that later.
It's going to be festive and full of drag, which is exactly what we want.
Because
you're right, there is an absolute market for it. People love it. We love it. And we're not ever going to be threatened or bullied into stopping it. So, people can try their best, but we ain't going anywhere.
Quite right too. What do you think people get out of it who come along to the shows then? Is it a release or a freedom, or just sort of a time to sort of, I don't know, wind down? What do you think people who come really get out of it, get off on it?
I think it's very unapologetic in general. I think people see us on stage, and for me personally, I'm not taking myself too seriously. I'm having fun. I'm displaying a form of gender expression that you don't see every single day. So for me, I do think what attracts people to it is the freedom, the unapologeticness of it. We're here to just entertain the audience and have a good time and show people something that you probably wouldn't have seen otherwise at noon on a Saturday in Douglas.
Absolutely not.
Sounds great. So just give us the details again.
So it'll be on the 9th of November down at Kiki's. Doors will open at 12. All the details are on my social media. So just find me at Fenella Beach. Anywhere you want to see me. And come down and it'll be a camp all time.
Great. And same on yours, Ash. You can get yours.
Absolutely, yeah. On my social media, I'm on Instagram at Nona Binary, and you can reach out to me, and I'll help you out with ticket links, with everything. And we're very ready for a new drag brunch and to have a hoedown. It's going to be great.
Yeehaw.
Finally this evening, sometimes things just drop into your lap, such as this last piece. I literally bumped into Billy, aka Paddington, or the Silver Fox, as I was coming into work one day. Purely by chance, he was looking to get into the station. I upped him in, we started chatting. Turned out he was here on a charity walk, promoting a book and raising money for good causes. And whilst he's a true Scouser, had a real love for the Isle of Man. He came up to the studio and we spoke more.
I'm staying at the Empress Hotel. I'm doing a little bit of research, trying to look at the apartments at the back to see if I can get an apartment when I come over. Wanted to visit Manx Radio to see if I could get a spot in order to do a book signing on the Isle of Man.
Okay, so a book signing. So you're writing a book. You're also doing a walk as well. It's all for charity. So tell us more about this whole project you've got going.
That kicked off about 2 weeks ago when Zoe's were in a lot of problems. They were £5.5 million. They needed.
And where's this? This is Zoe's Place.
It's Zoe's Place, which is a baby hospice in West Derby in Liverpool. They were looking to raise £5.5 million. So initially we kicked off with our hairdressing salons and started raising money by doing blow dries for £10. All the staff got involved. We were looking at probably raising between £1,000 and £2,000, no more. Then a lot of the big boys came in, and they Home and Bargain. I think they gave £2.5 million, and then it started to dwindle down. I think they're probably at their target now, Zoe's Place. But I'm still doing what I do now. I'm doing this walk. I kicked off in Liverpool. All the places that I was going to, I took the teddy bear, Paddington, and the T-shirt to represent the charity, and everywhere, even church, everywhere I go I take it. Now I'm on the Isle of Man with it. 2 weeks time I'll be in Jersey with it, and then from there I'll be in Marbella with it.
Wow. And does Paddington represent Zoe's? Is that their logo?
No, Paddington is me.
That's you.
Paddington is me. My nickname to my children is Paddington, because I've travelled all my life. I've been a seaman. I've been, wherever I go, I'm walking, doing this. Every 2 or 3 weeks I'm away somewhere. And my other nickname is they call me the Silver Fox for some unknown reason. But I do this walk, and I know that when I've done this book launch for this latest book that I've done, I know that when I present that book sometime in January, this kiddies book, Paddington and the Silver Fox, then I know for a fact it will generate a lot of money for Zoe's Place. And that's basically the reason for it. It's the charity that I'm interested in. I've supported Zoe's Place for 30 years in their infancy, and also another charity that I give money to, which is alongside Zoe's Place, is Kind, Kids in Need and Distress. And my friend Stephen Yip runs that foundation. So they're the two people that are instrumental in what I do. And the reason I do it, now that I have the time, in between writing books, because I'm on my 8th book now. I've actually started my 8th book and 3 chapters in. Waiting for this launch and YouTube to come out. In the interim, I thought I'll get over the Isle of Man, try and collate something there, and then just waiting on now it's gone to print. I've actually got the proof in the car, so I'm proofing it now.
Brilliant. So tell us about the book. What's it about? You said the 8th book. What are the books all about, or this one?
The books are about Liverpool. They're about my journeys, because I've been away to sea. There's a lot of things I've done. I've had somewhat of a checkered life, if you like, but then again, we've been in business most of our life, me and my late wife. I've had a collection of jobs. So from an early age, 10 years of age, I said to my mother and father, I'm going to be a writer. They said, don't be silly, you're going to work on the docks with your dad. And I thought, no. So I came up with this poem, and I sent it to the Echo, Liverpool Echo. And on my first trip back from sea, my dad was waiting on the quay, and he said to me, "Is a telegram, no mobile phones." And I said, "What's in that?" And he said, "Oh." I said, "Well, let me mum open it." So she opened it, and it was a cheque for £50. I actually won the competition. So that spared me, because I always wanted to be a writer. Always. Was always doing something with. And then this book now is called Walk of Life. So it's basically my journey from 10 years of age right through even where I am now. And we've had lots of businesses, we've sold them, we've brought kids up, we've had ups and downs like everybody else. But I've been travelling basically since I was 15. I don't stop. And that's why my kids call me Paddington. That sometimes the bag's over the shoulder and I'm gone. And, you know, I've always wanted to come in here to actually, when I seen my friend Bill in the Palace, I said to him, I think he was here for 5 days with Leslie, I'm not sure. I think he did visit here. And he said, oh, when you speak to me, he said, I said, come on, you know, you're on holiday. I don't want to indulge. You're on holiday. And but lovely man. And I didn't even know it was in this spot because I've just been to the apartments and I noticed it on the way out. And I thought, I have to go in Manx Radio. I have to get a book signed in Victoria Road. I have to. W.H. Smith's. And a lot of people know me on the island. They go to Fig and Olive. I was toying with the fact because I was a chef at sea in the Merchant Navies on the QE2. I've been on all the big liners. And I was toying with the fact that if I move here on the island, wherever I am, whether I'm in the Empress Apartments, whether I'm on Onken, wherever, let's look at the Portofino, because I'm a chef, and see if I can rekindle that, because I'm always doing something. I've always got a different...
Being busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is the book sort of autobiographical then, would you say?
They can say they're autobiographical, but they're based on Liverpool, and I'd throw characters into it. So I don't like to... Ken and Barbie or Sheep, I do characters. So I introduce them into the equation. And all my books are based on quirky things which people wouldn't pick up on. So this book I'm working on now, my 8th book, is called The Other Three Graces. The reason for that is we have 3 graces on the waterfront, which everyone knows about, tourists. But the other 3 graces are the 3 main churches, what I think, in Liverpool 5, which are prominent. St Anthony's, St George's and St Polycarp's. And they're engulfed in Liverpool 5. Now Liverpool 5 is and was the most populated area in Liverpool in the late 1800s and the 1900s, with the potato farming population coming over. So it was very congested. And there's a great deal of history there. So I'm already into the church now and doing research on it. And they're my other 3 graces, the ones which I think are more prominent to people in Liverpool than the ones which the tourists see. And again, on to book 9, where I've already got the title for that, where it's The Great Liverpudlians Liverpool Forgot. Now, there's a lot of Liverpudlians out there who have not been mentioned, but they mention all the football, they mention all the people who, you know, in the pop industry and all things like that, but they don't mention that. Mm-hmm. And then on to book 10. And book 10, I had inspiration in the Royal Hospital. I was getting my eyes done, and I was talking to this lady afterwards, said, look at the ceiling. So I'm looking at it, and she said to me, you'll be like that for 2 hours. And I just said to her, where do you come from? And she said, I think she said somewhere in Pakistan somewhere. And I said, oh, what are you doing in Liverpool? And she said, well, I married a man from Vazackley. You wouldn't believe it. And I started laughing. I said to her, what? She said, yeah, I married a man from Vazackley. And I had an inspiration just there and then. I thought, yeah, book 10, why Liverpool? I already had the title. So I will surface and I will go around all the footballers, all the celebrities and all the people that have stayed, students included, and ask them why Liverpool. There's a reason for it, and we all know why. You know, there's a lot going on. You've got the arts, culture, you've got everything in Liverpool, I think, at this time. I'm biased, obviously.
But you quite like the idea of maybe living on the Isle of Man?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, them apartments there at the back are absolutely, it's what I want because of the view. I'm a seaman. I mean, I finished my 7th book on that bench. Actually finished the Walk of Life on that bench. Looking out, I had to see boats coming in and out. It's me, because I'm nautical, you know, and this is it.
So here we are then, you're finishing your walk today, you're going to be back to Liverpool shortly, back and forth, so you're hoping to come and do a signing then, and that will be sometime in January?
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, you know, if I get people out there, there's a lot of people out there know that I write. But I thought I'm backwards and forwards through the town. I always see W.H. Smith. I said it'll be a good venue if I can get there, you know. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of Scousers on the island. there's a lot of people that'll be interested in what goes on in Liverpool. Basically, most of it's based in Liverpool, the work I do, you know, the background anyway. And of course the two charities are based in Liverpool, and they're you know, foremost really in my heart, really. We've always done it, and I said I'll carry on doing it. And you know, I've never took a penny from the books, and God knows how many I've sold. But I don't even look at that side of it. It just goes to the charity, and I'm happy with that. That's what I'm in it for.
It's a great idea, a lovely, great thing to raise money for as well. Lovely talking to you today, Billy, and hopefully might see you again, book signing in January.
Thank you, Alan.
Lovely to meet Billy. We'll meet again next year, no doubt, when he'll be signing those books, all being well, perhaps doing another walk. He never sits still, it seems. Say hello if you see him around at any time. That's about it for this week, though. Before I forget, if you're in Ramsey on Saturday, why not drop into the Manning Arts Group exhibition and sale of pictures? Sadly, I didn't have time to get there, but it's bound to be lovely. It always is up there. More to the point, it's raising money by donating all the proceeds from the sales of pictures at the exhibition to the Isle of Man RNLI. It's at Quails Hall from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday. Check it out. If you want to hear anything again on Spotlight, go to manchesterradio.com, download the Spotlight podcast, listen where and when you want. Why not try it in order to try and forget about everything else in the world? Just for a short time anyway. See you next week, and whatever you're doing, be creative about it. Cheerio.